Today we will present Chapter 11, Development Policymaking and the Rules of Market, State and Civil Society in Economic Development. For many years, economists debated who should lead development, the market or the government. However, the 1991 report, the World Bank concluded that both are important. Both are important, and Nobel Prize winner Eleanor Ostrom also said that a strong institution help people cooperate and achieve better results. And next. Well, in the past, many people believed that government planning alone could solve economic problems. Economists call this idea the planning massacre. However, many countries later realized that planning doesn't always guarantee strong economic results. Still, a clear development policy remains important for guiding growth and reducing poverty. Well, next. So, development planning mainly focuses on mobilizing the resources for public investment, and government invests in sectors such as infrastructure, education, healthcare, and to support long-term development. Most developing countries have mixed economies where both government and private sectors play important roles. Planning helps coordinate farmers, businesses, and industries to they contribute effectively to national development. So next. Well, there are four main reasons why development planning is important. The first one is market failure. It helps solve market failure when markets cannot produce socially desirable outcome. The second one is it allows a government to mobilize and allocate the resources efficiently. The third one is development plans create national motivation and shared economic goals. Finally, many international institutions require a clear development strategy before providing financial support. The next, a market failure occurs when markets produce outcomes that are not socially desirable. For example, private companies may not invest enough in industries and or healthcare or education, because profits may be low. In such situation, government often intervene to support social welfare. The next one is two common causes for market failure. Two common causes for market failure are public goods and externalities. Public goods such as clean air or national defense are difficult for private companies to provide. The externalities occur when economic activities affect other people, for example, pollution from factories. The next one is however, governments can also fail. Sometimes political decisions serve political interests rather than public interest. Therefore, countries must manage both market failure and government failure through a strong institution and good governance. Next, development planning usually occurs at three levels. First one is aggregate planning, which focuses on whole economy. The second one is sectoral planning, which focuses on specific industries such as agriculture or education. The third one is project planning, which focuses on individual projects such as building roads, schools, or hospitals. So next one is aggregate growth model. This model shows the relationship between capital and output. This formula means that economic output depends on the amount of capital investment. This suggests that countries need more investment in technology, infrastructure and machinery to increase their production. So next one. Economies also analyze growth using variables such as saving rate, capital ratio, capital output ratio, and depreciation. These factors help governments estimate future growth and plan development strategies. So next one. Economic development also depend on labor forces, growth, and production. If productivity increases and economic growth higher than population growth, living standards will improve. So next one is, well, investment fund mainly focuses come from national income, which consists of wages and profits. Since profits usually have a higher saving rate, government encourage firms reinvest profit into a productive investment. So next one. Well, you can see this table shows the economic indicator from 2030 until 2024. The some variables including real GDP per capita and the number of university graduates. Both indicators shows the growth. Yes. So economists also use statistical models such as ECM and REMA to analyze economic relationship and forecast future trends. So next one is the regression analysis shows strong relationship between variables such as income, education, and population trend. For example, the high R-score this equals 0.99. It shows that most of the changes in the data. So next one. The error correction model shows how quickly economic variables return to equilibrium after short-term changes. This helps economists understand how economic system adjusts over time. So next one is, well, so forecast results show that the population of Uzbekistan may reach about 46 million by 2035. This information helps government plan future investment in education, healthcare, housing, and employment. Well, next, in this graph you can see the actual population by the solid line, and the dashed line shows the forecast trend, and the shaded area indicator the 95% confidence interval showing the possible range of future population value. So next one. Well, in there you can see net present value. Well, the net NPV compares the present value of benefit with the present value of the cost over time. If the NPV positive, the project is economically beneficial and should be accepted. If NPV is negative, the project may not be effective. So the conclusion for my part, I can see that development policymaking requires the balance between markets, governments, and strong institutions. And effects planning helps countries mobilize resources, manage market failure, and guide long-term economic growth.
Hello everyone, my name is Samir Samadov. I will continue the presentation. Government failure and preference for markets or planning. In the 1980 years, many countries moved towards free market because government planning often failed. Plans were based on weak data, hit by shocks, and undermined by weak institutions or lack of political will. Legal states struggled most, so markets became the preferred option. The market economy. A market economy needs strong foundations and property rights, laws, freedom to start business, stable currency, supervision of monopolies, good information, innovation, safety nets, protection from violence, stable fiscal and monetary policy are also essential. The market economy, the Washington Consensus promoted free markets, fiscal discipline, tax reform, trade liberalization, and privatization, but it didn't always match the leads of successful developing countries. The Washington Consensus and East Asia. South Korea and Taiwan followed some parts of the consensus like fiscal discipline and investment in health and education, but they delayed liberalization, restricted foreign investment, and built public enterprise. Their success shows that state involvement can also drive the growth. The Washington Consensus of role of state in development and its subsequent evolution. Over time, the consensus evolved. Governments were seen as responsible for poverty reduction, inclusive growth, and public goods like health and education. It was recognized that markets can fall and governments must help create conditions for effective market. Development, political economy, theories of population and reform. Policy reform depends on politics, voting patterns, institutions, and history matter. Democrats and authorities differ in growth outcomes. NGO and citizen groups also influence development policy. NGO can manage common resource and provide local public goods and bring new ideas. They offer innovation, flexibility, and technical knowledge, credibility, and advocacy. Other limitations, voluntary failure, NGO may be limited, but they may be too small, lack local knowledge, or follow funders' goals instead of community needs. Fundraising can become the main activity without quick feedback. Weakness may last for years. The trends in governance and reform. Good governance is vital. Corruption hurts development, especially the poor. Tackling corruption improves state capability, but governance is more than fighting commission. It's about fairness, trust, and strong. The next, corruption as regressive taxes, the case of Ecuador. In Ecuador, corruption acted like regressive tax. Small firms and low-income households paid larger share of their income in bribes compared to big firms and wealthy households. There wasn't inequality. Countries with a stronger rule of law tend to have higher income. A clear legal system supports growth. Institutions matter as much as markets. The last one, a conclusion, development is not just markets or planning. Both can fail if institutions are weak. Success comes from balance, markets, governments, and communities working together for growth, and that's fair and sustainability.